Have you ever looked at your parents and realized they aren't as young as they used to be? It's a moment that can catch us off guard, isn't it? As we grow older, so do our parents, but sometimes we don't notice the subtle changes until a significant moment hits us. This video explores the emotional journey of realizing our parents are aging and the importance of truly listening to them. Now, you might think you know your parents well, but here's the twist. Many of us overlook the small signs of aging until they're impossible to ignore. Studies show that as our parents age, their needs and perspectives shift in ways we might not expect. For instance, a study from the Journal of Gerontology highlights how communication becomes more crucial as parents age, yet it's often the first thing to falter. Real-life experiences echo this, revealing that many of us miss out on meaningful conversations simply because we aren't truly listening. In this video, we'll cover 3 key insights. First, we'll discuss the subtle signs of aging that often go unnoticed. Did you know that changes in routine can be a silent cry for help? Next, we'll explore the art of listening, how truly hearing your parents can transform your relationship. And finally, we'll delve into practical ways to cherish the time you have with them, because the third point will surprise you. By watching, you'll gain a deeper understanding of your parents' needs and learn how to cherish the time you have with them. You'll discover common mistakes we all make and how to avoid them, with fresh examples that might just change your perspective. If this resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's embark on this journey together. You know, there comes a moment in life when you suddenly realize your parents are getting older. It's like a light bulb moment, and it can really catch you off guard. I remember the exact day it hit me. My dad, who used to be this strong, unstoppable force, was struggling to open a jar of pickles. I mean, this was the guy who could fix anything around the house, no problem. And there he was, wrestling with a jar. It was such a small thing, but it felt huge. Have you ever had a moment like that? It's these little things that can be a powerful wake-up call. Maybe you've noticed your parents forgetting things more often, like they can't remember where they put their keys or they mix up names. Or maybe you've seen them looking more tired, more fragile than you remember. It's like one day they're full of energy and the next, they're taking more naps and moving a bit slower. These moments can be tough to process, right? The thing is, if we ignore these signs, we might end up with regrets. We could miss out on opportunities to connect with them while we still can. I mean, we all get busy, and it's easy to brush these things off, but acknowledging these moments can actually be a catalyst. It's a chance to spend more quality time with them, to really listen and be present. Because, let's face it, time is precious. Recognizing these changes is the first step in understanding and supporting our aging parents. It's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's not a bad thing. It's a chance to be there for them in a new way, to show them love and appreciation while they're still here to enjoy it. And honestly, it can bring you closer together. I remember talking to a friend about this, and she said, "You know, I wish I'd spent more time just listening to my mom's stories." And that really stuck with me. We often think we have all the time in the world, but the truth is, we don't. So let's make the most of the time we have. I'd love to hear your stories too. What was your moment of realization? When did you first notice your parents were getting older? Share your experiences in the comments. It's a conversation worth having, and who knows, your story might resonate with someone else going through the same thing. Let's keep this dialogue going, because we're all in this together. You know, it's funny how we often think of our parents as these unchanging pillars of strength. I mean, growing up, they were the ones who seemed to have all the answers, right? But then one day, you start to notice little things. Maybe they repeat a story they've already told you, or they seem a bit more tired than usual. And that's when it hits you. They're getting older. It's a realization that can be a bit unsettling, but it's also a chance for us to really connect with them on a deeper level. The thing is, many older adults experience loneliness and feel misunderstood by their families. We might not even realize it because, well, we're busy with our own lives. We assume they'll always be strong, just like we remember from childhood. But the truth is, their lives can become lonelier as they age. And sometimes we don't truly listen when they talk, and believe me, they know it. This lack of listening can lead to emotional distance. It's like there's this invisible wall that starts to build up, and before you know it, there's a lack of meaningful connections. And that's not what any of us want, right? We want to feel close to our parents, to understand them, and to be there for them as they were for us. So, what can we do about it? Well, one of the most important things is to make a conscious effort to listen and engage with your parents regularly. I know it sounds simple, but it's amazing how much of a difference it can make. Just taking the time to sit down and really hear what they have to say can be incredibly powerful. It's about being present, showing them that you care, and that their thoughts and feelings matter. Understanding their loneliness is crucial to improving their quality of life. It's not just about being there physically, it's about being there emotionally. And when we do that, we not only help them feel less lonely, but we also enrich our own lives with their wisdom and experiences. So, let's make an effort to bridge that gap. Let's listen more, engage more, and show our parents that they're not alone. After all, they spent so many years listening to us, guiding us, and being there for us. It's our turn now. And hey, if you've ever felt misunderstood by your family, you're not alone. It's something many of us go through. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going and support each other in this journey. So, let's talk about something that might seem simple but is actually really powerful: listening. You know, the kind of listening where you're not just hearing words but really tuning in. I remember the day I realized my parents were getting older. It was a regular Sunday afternoon, and we were sitting in the living room. My dad started telling a story about his childhood, one I'd heard a million times before. But this time, I decided to really listen. And you know what? I heard something new. A detail about his first job that I'd never caught before. It was like discovering a hidden chapter in a book I thought I knew by heart. Listening, truly listening, is such a powerful way to show love and appreciation to our aging parents. It's not just about nodding along or waiting for your turn to speak. It's about being present, giving them your full attention. Spend more time with them without rushing. Ask how they're doing and really listen to their answer. It's amazing what you can learn when you're not just waiting for your turn to talk. And here's the thing, don't treat them as just old. They're people with stories to tell, experiences to share. Listening can bridge the gap between generations. It's like opening a window to the past, and it can help us understand their needs better. Maybe they're not just being forgetful. Maybe they're worried about something. Or maybe they just want to share a memory that's important to them. Of course, it's not always easy. It requires patience and a willingness to change our habits. We're so used to multitasking, to being in a rush, but practicing active listening, being present in the moment, can make all the difference. It's like when you're reading a good book and you lose track of time because you're so absorbed in the story. That's the kind of listening we're talking about. Listening fosters connection. It shows that we value their presence in our lives. It's like saying, I see you, I hear you, and you matter to me. And honestly, isn't that what we all want? To feel seen and heard? So here's a little challenge for you. Think about a story your parents have told you that changed your perspective. Maybe it was something small, like a funny anecdote, or something big, like a life lesson. Share that story with someone else. It's a way to keep their stories alive, to pass on their wisdom. And who knows? You might just inspire someone else to start listening a little more closely. Creating new memories with our parents is something we often overlook, but it's so important, you know? I remember this one time with my dad. We were just sitting on the porch, and out of nowhere, he gave me this spontaneous hug. It was one of those moments that just sticks with you. It wasn't planned or anything, but it felt like time slowed down for a second. And I realized, these are the moments that matter. We all get caught up in our busy lives, and it's easy to think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. But the thing is, time is limited. We don't have forever, and opportunities can slip away if we don't act now. It's like when you keep putting off a phone call and then suddenly it's too late. I mean, we don't want to look back and wish we'd done more, right? So what can we do? Well, one idea is to plan regular activities that you can enjoy together. It doesn't have to be anything grand. Maybe it's a slow, peaceful walk in the park, just taking in the scenery and chatting about whatever comes to mind. Or how about cooking a meal together? You can share stories while chopping vegetables, and maybe even learn a family recipe or two. It's these simple things that can create the most meaningful memories. And why is this so important? Because new memories strengthen our bonds. They give us something to hold on to, something to look back on with a smile. And in later years, these memories can provide comfort, like a warm blanket on a chilly day. They remind us of the love and connection we've shared. I remember my friend telling me about a time he and his mom decided to take a road trip. They didn't have a set destination, just a map and a sense of adventure. Along the way, they laughed, got lost a few times, and discovered this little diner with the best pie they'd ever tasted. It wasn't about the destination, it was about the journey and the time spent together. So I want to ask you, what new memory will you create with your parents this week? Maybe it's something small, like a cup of coffee on a lazy afternoon, or something a bit more adventurous. Whatever it is, make it count. Because these moments, they're the ones that stay with us. They're the stories we'll tell, the memories we'll cherish. And who knows, maybe one day, you'll look back and realize that these were the best days of your life. You know, it's funny how time just sneaks up on us. One day, you're a kid and your parents are these invincible figures. Then suddenly, you notice the little things, like how they move a bit slower or forget a name here and there. It's like, wow, when did that happen? I remember a moment with my dad sitting on the porch and he just seemed different. Not weaker, just more reflective. It hit me that time changes everything, including our relationships. We often get caught up in the hustle and bustle, but it's crucial to cherish those moments. I mean, how often do we really stop and listen? Really listen. It's in those quiet moments that we find the true essence of our connections. So, take a moment today. Reflect on how time has changed your relationships. What have you noticed? What stories do you have to share? So, we've talked about that moment when it hits you. Your parents are getting older. It's a bit of a shock, isn't it? I mean, one day they're the ones taking care of everything, and the next you notice they're moving a little slower or maybe repeating stories. It's like, wow, time really flies. And you know, it can be a little scary realizing they might feel lonely or left out. But here's the thing. Listening can be such a powerful tool. Just being there, really hearing them out, can make a world of difference. I remember a time when I sat down with my dad and he started sharing stories from his youth. At first I thought, oh, I've heard this one before. But then I realized each time he tells it, there's a new detail, a new emotion. It's like peeling back layers of a storybook. And those moments, they become precious memories. We can create new ones too. Maybe it's a simple walk in the park or trying out a new recipe together. These little things add up, you know? So if you haven't already, take a moment to like and subscribe. And I'd love to hear your stories. What was your moment of realization? Share in the comments. It's amazing how much we can learn from each other. Remember, our parents won't be here forever. Let's cherish the time we have, show them love, and make sure they know just how much they mean to us. Because at the end of the day, it's those connections that truly matter. Thanks for being here, and let's keep this conversation going.